Black Panther is the 18th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's the story of T'Challa, who returns to Wakanda just after the events of Civil War to take up his rightful place as the King of Wakanda, and then Eric Killmonger arrives on the scene, and he's got a plan to overthrow T'Challa as the King of Wakanda. So now we have our conflict, now we have our Black Panther film. Of course I was excited for this film because it's the new Marvel film, and it was directed by Ryan Coogler, who did Fruitvale Station and Creed, so I was excited to see what he was going to do with such a big tentpole film. And just to get into it, Black Panther is awesome. The thing that impressed me right out the gate with this film was the Wakandan culture. It was explored in such an involving way, and you really feel like that these characters have lived and breathed this culture through generations. The world and culture of Wakanda feels so lived, and you feel like that it's thrived since the dawn of time. And the world building for Wakanda was also really great. This is the last film before Infinity War, 18 films into the MCU, and we're still exploring new territory, new corners of the MCU we haven't seen before, and I was just so enthralled with all this. I just soaked all the culture in, all the Wakandan stuff. I was just loving just watching these people be themselves and just watch this culture thrive on screen. The whole African vibe of this film with the culture and also the music makes this a very different film from Marvel. But the thing that really impressed me the most about Black Panther was the story. I think Black Panther is one of the strongest Marvel films as far as narrative and characters go. And quite a bit of that has to do with Eric Killmonger as the villain. And yes, the rumours are true, he is a very good villain. Because he's not a cut and dry villain, he's not just an evil person doing evil things for the sake of being evil. He has a mission, he has a vendetta, he has a motivation, and you really feel it. There are some scenes where just like, I get you, I understand what you're saying, and it really gets you to think about the situation that his presence presents in Wakanda for the people of Wakanda. You look at it from the Wakandans and T'Challa's point of view, you're like, I completely understand why you think that, but then you look at it from Killmonger's point of view and you're like, he makes some good points. And I was just sat there watching it, listening to this dialogue, and I was just getting absorbed into the narrative of this film. And that's what I mean when I say that this is one of the strongest Marvel films in terms of narrative, because it has layers. The characters and the story have layers to them. So massive props to Marvel for pulling that off. And underneath all this greatness, Black Panther is still a badass and entertaining comic book film. The first half of this film actually felt like a pretty cool spy film actually, because T'Challa and his accomplices are going out on missions and they have the Wakandan technology. You have Shuri, who's T'Challa's sister, who's kind of like the Q from James Bond of this film, showing him all the gadgets. She's in her laboratory, she's like, stop messing up my laboratory. They're there on the mission, talking through earpieces, spotting targets, planning their moves, being strategic. It was a really cool spy film for the first half. The second half has to do with all kings and monarchs and becoming the rightful kings and heirs to the throne, kind of like what the first two Thor films were like, that real regal feel to it, but it was a lot more interesting and involving in this film than it was with the first two Thor films for me personally. In terms of any flaws of this film, I only have a couple. One of them being there's a couple of pacing issues in the first half where you start to feel the runtime a little bit, and second of all, there are a couple of moments that were a bit conventional, like you expected those to happen. And also, even though I love the world building of Wakanda and the culture of Wakanda, I kind of felt like we didn't get to see a whole lot of Wakanda itself. Sometimes the film goes to different locations around the world and we do get to see some cool parts of Wakanda, but we didn't get to see a whole ton of it, so that's like a minor gripe though. But overall guys, Black Panther is another smash hit from Marvel. It's one of the best films they have from a narrative and from a character perspective. The story, the world building, the culture, it's all really absorbing, it's really involving, it's really interesting, but it's also fun, it's also entertaining. Great hero, great villain, great supporting characters, great action scenes that you want in a superhero film, and the humour was very well done also. There's not a ton of humour in this film. If you don't like the Marvel humour, they do scale it back a bit and use it sparingly here, but when there is humour, it actually works. Black Panther is another awesome addition to the MCU, and I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. The first great film of 2018. I was so happy leaving this cinema. Guys, what did you think of Black Panther when you do get a chance to see it? Tell me in the comments below, and if you want to see more of my stuff, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.